Oh, he hit that hard, Stoinis.
Great shot. Stand tall, pivot. Bang.
Oh.
Punish down the ground.
Shot.
Enjoyed the length offered by Shinwari. Did Stoinis. Oh, what a way to finish. It was 4 that was required. Stoinis says, no, I'll have 6 of them.
Hey everyone, today we'll be having a look at a Marc Stoinis Gray-Nicolls. Stick it as a Kronos, but I know for a fact this is actually one of his play bats. You can see here that this bat says Kronos 2000 on it, which in itself would be a pretty amazing sort of bat to review. Ultra bow stickers. This has got the new stickers which don't have that matte texturing of the ones with which had errors. Got the bronze on it. Nothing really special about stickers, but there's something a bit different about that profile. That's not a Kronos. That is a different beast altogether. And the other interesting thing about this bat is it's been factory knocked. No, this bat was actually a custom order through Kingsgrove, Newcastle. 3 players' bats were ordered. A Williamson, a Stoinis and a Renshaw. And 2 of the bats, Stuart Cransbuehler didn't have time to actually make them, so he just took them straight from the players' bin. So this particular one is actually a Marc Stoinis. And the only thing I've got to identify that is that he's written MS on the back. And it's a massive full profile. Look at that. Absolutely full. This is not a regular Kronos 2000. If I try the gauge on it, you'll see that it makes it through the gauge quite easily, but it's peaking right on all those measurements. So, you know, players today have to have bats that the umpires check before every game, and that's at international level. And this one makes it through, but it's interesting in that basically from a high position all the way through to a mid-low position, that spine is consistent all the way through, which would be approximately 65 to 66 mils. So the edges themselves just make it through, so they're just under 40 mil. And the width of the bat is scuffed, remember? Yeah, 108.2 millimeters. So that scuff adds a little bit of thickness to it. So this bat was actually knocked in the factory, so the sponsored players get the bats pre-knocked for them. And yeah, it's a very interesting piece of willow. It's what you call that player's willow. It doesn't have, it's not aesthetically the most stunning bat that you'd see. You can see the speck on the bat. And there's a bit of colour sort of running through here. You've got pin knots. It's actually a bit of a hard bar there, but it's outside of the main playing area. And we'll tap it up just to hear what it sounds like. Remembering this is fully knocked. It's nice and hard there at the toe, and it's got good ping. It's tight, it's been knocked in, probably pressed a little bit more, so there's not much to do. You can see that the edges are pretty much ready to go, though I don't think the international players really care too much, because they should be at that level able to hit mostly in the middle of the bat. General thoughts at this time will probably surprise you. Yes, it is a bat that would have potentially made it into Marcus's hand, wasn't handed over to the purchaser. But I don't actually find this to be anything beyond what you can buy at your top of the line retail from Gray-Nicolls. Yes, it's a lot fuller. You know, it has that thick sort of shape to it. But the handle shape is something that's the same on my GN Ultimate. It's definitely a lot bigger than my GN Ultimate, but it's definitely not much heavier. I'll bring that in actually just to show you. Ultimate there next to the player's bat. Obviously one's been oiled, then scuff sheet put on. That's the way I do it. I did have a little bit of a crack down the bottom, so I repaired that. But this bat is 2.9, fully scuffed. And obviously it's had some match use, really goes off of that. Handle feels identical. But the big difference is just that sheer bulk right there. This shape just doesn't have that. There's actually a tiny little bit of concaving taken out of that shape, whereas you can see the player's shape is much thicker at the toe. You can see down here it's much thicker. A little bit thicker at the shoulders too. Pretty much the same at this point, but much thicker all the way through that area. But as far as ping goes, look, I don't think there's a huge difference, to be perfectly honest with you. Yeah, it looks aesthetically a lot better. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 versus the Ultimate. Is made in Australia. It does have the typical things of the Australian made bats, which is the zinc oxide strapping tape. The actual cork on it is a little bit thicker than mine. I've actually added extra strapping tape, by the way, just to get that to feel a little bit thicker down the bottom. I've just preferred that. So that's mine out of the picture. And yeah, so I think if you're willing to pay the money, you probably get bats at that 2000 level that will ping just as good, but maybe not have that really full shape like this, which is, yeah, pretty stunning. So what is the weight? It says 2.9 on the sticker, and it weighs 2.98. And as far as feel, it feels 2.9, maybe 2.9.5. It's not actually a very nice pickup at this point. I would say the player would add an extra grip straight off, and that will balance it quite nicely. So yeah, there you go. Toe thickness, I don't think I've done those dimensions. So we've got down here a 27.5 mil, 25 at the edges of the toe, and that shoulder is 12.8. So there you have it. That is a player bat. Turn the camera around and we'll bounce a ball on it. So we'll start off with the old 4-piece here. I can hear straight off that it's really been pressed nicely. Got that hardness to it, means it's ready to go into the nets, start being played in. The dukes. I'm trying not to hit the roof. Trying to bounce the ball basically on all sections of it. So yeah, it's not quite nice, isn't it? So that spine that is basically even at 65 to 66 millimeters right through this period here, along with that nice edge, means that you've got a really decent hitting area right through this area here, complemented obviously by the fact that it's got a bit of low density wood, and it's allowed them to make it a lot fuller. So yeah, only with really low density bits of willow do you sort of get this sort of shape. It does have the flat toe, not a big fan of. but it's up to you. So there you have it. That is the Marcus Stoinis player's bat, ripped from his player's bin and sent to the owner, who's gladly sent it over to me. Gray-Nicolls.